Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to send messages from your web application to a mobile device in different languages. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at the library called Twilio. So if you're not familiar with Twilio and you're wondering what Twilio is all about, so let's imagine that you have a web application and you want to send messages from your web application or your website to a given phone, right? To send SMS messages basically from your web application or from a server or an API to a mobile device. So how can you go about doing that? So one of the libraries you can use is Twilio, and this is what we'll be covering in this tutorial. So learn all about Twilio, how to send messages using Twilio, and how to do OTP and other stuff like that. And oh yeah, so let's just jump in and see what this crash course is all about. So I mentioned you're going to be using Twilio, and this is how to send messages, SMS messages, and also you can also send email message, but we'll not be covering the email part. You can also use Twilio to send OTP codes and stuff like that. So let me just take a quick example. Let's say that you're administrator of a given website. So let's say that you're the guy in blue right here, and you want to send messages, SMS messages to all the people who have registered for on your web application. You want to send them an SMS message. How do you go ahead doing that? So one of the ways you can do that is by using Twilio. So by using Twilio, you can connect your web application. From your web application, you can simply issue a command to send messages to all the clients, and all the clients to receive the messages on their mobile devices. And that you can do that using Twilio. So let's say also you might be also, for example, if you go to some website and you register for the website, you might be asked about, they might send you something like OTP, and you wonder what's an OTP. Don't worry, we'll be looking at OTP just in a second. But basically, maybe you go to a website. Let's say you're the guy in blue here. You go to a website, you register for the website. They ask you for a mobile phone, right? Mobile number. So how can the website, the owners of the website, be sure that the mobile number you provided is actually the correct mobile number, or you're not just generating any fake mobile number and using that to register? How can they verify that you are the owner of that mobile number? One way you can do that is simply send you a message to your phone, and once you open the message, you see an OTP code, and you enter the OTP code inside of the website. So they'll give you a form, or you fill in the number, and once that number is entered in the form, and you go back to the website and into all the server, or basically an API, and to verify that you're the actual owner of that phone number, that number is actually yours and not just a number that you randomly generated. So you can also do that using an OTP. So when we're correcting details of people like their phone numbers, and you want to verify whether the number is actually theirs, you can use an OTP code, and you can send OTP codes in Twilio, and you're going to be covering that in Twilio, okay, in this tutorial basically. So let's look at the course outline, what we're going to be covering in this short course. So the first of all, the thing we're going to look at is how to install all the dependencies. We'll learn how to install Twilio. We'll learn how to install a .env for keeping our secrets and other stuff like that, and set up our development environment basically. And then we'll move on to registering a Twilio account, basically a free account that you can use to build different applications and send out different SMS messages to make sure that your web application actually sending the messages part actually work. And then finally, we'll learn how to send SMSs using Twilio in 2 different ways. And then finally, we'll learn how to send OTP codes, as I've explained to you earlier on. So we'll learn how to send OTP codes, and again how you can apply that in building a web application, okay. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is actually talk about installing the dependencies. So to install the dependencies, we need to install a couple of dependencies. So the first thing we need to do is to create a virtual environment, and inside of the virtual environment, you're going to install dependencies. So let me just go into my terminal and let's see what we need to do. So I'm going to create a virtual environment. First of all, let me just go ahead and create a project folder. Okay, so let me just deactivate. I have a virtual environment currently opened up, so I'm just going to go ahead and deactivate it. So in your case, you will not have a virtual environment open up. I just happen to have a virtual environment open up, so I just deactivated it. So in your case, it will look like this, right? So you can also go, if you're using Windows or MacBook, you can also just go or wherever you want to create a project folder and create a folder in there. If you're on MacBook and Windows, this command, basically if you're on Windows, MacBook and Linux, this command of creating a folder is going to work for you. So just type in mkdraw and just type in the name of the folder that you want to create. So I'm just going to say Twilio Python. So I'm going to be using Python for this. So I'm just going to say Twilio Python and just enter. And I'm going to change directory into the folder which is Twilio Python. So once I'm inside of my folder, I do an ls. In Windows, it's going to be a dir. In MacBook, it's also an ls. So that should basically return to an empty. That shows that there's nothing inside of this Twilio of Python folder that you created. So great. If you're on Windows, again, it's going to be dir on your end. Okay, but in Windows and Linux, sorry, and MacBooks and Linux, it's an ls, just to view the content of a folder. So once we have that created, I'm going to create a virtual environment, and the command I'm going to use to create this virtual environment here is going to work for guys who are using Linux and MacBooks. But if you're on Windows machine, the command is going to be different. So you can do a quick Google search on how to create a virtual environment on Windows. Again, to create a virtual environment is not an absolute necessity. You can do this without creating a virtual environment, but for for the best practice sake, I'm just going to go ahead and create a virtual environment. So okay, so if you don't want to create a virtual environment, then feel free to skip this step. So just go ahead and simply say python 3 -m and then venv and then venv. So we're going to create a virtual environment called venv. Okay, so once the virtual environment is created, if I do an ls on Windows, it's going to be a dir, right? So if I do an ls, now I should be able to see a folder called venv inside of my Twilio Python folder. So I can see the folder there called venv, which is just our Python virtual environment. So once we have that done, now let's go ahead and see what we need to install. So we need to install Twilio, and also we need to install a Python library called .env. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to go inside of this website, which is just the Twilio of your documentation, and you can see they give you the instruction to install Twilio. So you just have to say pip3 then install Twilio. You can just say pip install Twilio, and that should have Twilio installed for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy it and then go back into my terminal. And first of all, before we go ahead and install this, let's actually activate our virtual environment. So those of you guys who didn't create a virtual environment, you don't have to actually follow this step, because in the first place you don't have any virtual environment. But guys who create a virtual environment, then you need to activate your virtual environment. Okay, because if right now, if I just paste a command and run it, it's going to install Twilio in our global Python environment, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply say source venv /bin/activate, and then simply run it. So once I run it, you can see my virtual environment is activated. And how do you know that? You can know that by you can see the name of the virtual environment in parentheses in front of the line inside of the terminal. So that shows that your virtual environment is activated. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply clear my terminal. So in if you're using MacBook or Linux, it's going to be clear, but if you're on Windows, it's CLS to clear the terminal. Okay, or if you're on a MacBook, if you're on Linux, you press Control and L, that will clear the terminal. I don't know about MacBooks, okay, and Windows, but for Linux, that's a short command to clear the terminal. So once our terminal is activated, I'm going to press paste the code that I've copied. So if you're on MacBook, if you're on Linux, just Control Shift and V to paste it. If you're on Windows, I think I just do this, and then simply say paste, and then paste it in that way. Okay, so once you have it pasted, I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, let me just fix that typo is Twilio, and then simply press enter. Once I press enter, it's going to go ahead and install the Twilio library inside of my virtual environments, and you can see that once it's done, it gives me the instruction that is the prompt that has been successfully installed. So once we have Twilio installed. So great. So now one more library that we need to have installed is called the .env library. So the .env library in Python just helps us to deal with environment variables in our secrets, because if you go ahead and register for a Twilio account, another person can use your account details to send messages. And for Twilio accounts, sometimes if you pay for this account and someone is using an account to send messages, then that bill is going to be on you. So these are things that you should keep confidential and secret to yourself. So best thing to do in programming is to make them a virtual environment, to keep them inside of a virtual environment. But in here, not virtual environment, an environment variable, to make them an environment variable. So one easy way to work with environment variable without having to do anything complicated, and this is going to work on both Linux, MacBooks, and Windows, is to just create a .env file, and you're going to be using python.env to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply, let me just go in here, and then just go to the website. You can see, you just search for python.env on Google, and that should bring you to this website. So you can just simply copy this link, and this link should help you to install .env library. So I'm going to simply clear my terminal again. You can just type in CLS if you're on Windows, but MacBook, you just type clear, just like Linux. Okay, so once I have that, I'm just going to go ahead and simply paste that command and simply press enter. That's going to go ahead and install the library inside of my virtual environment, and that's done. So great. So now let's go back to the slide and let's see what we have. So we have installed all our dependencies. So now let's move on to these are the links, and I'm going to, maybe if you guys want this slide, I can share these slides with you if you want them. So I've installed Twilio, and also installed python.env. great, right? So now what you need to go ahead and do is actually create a Twilio account that you can use to simply send messages. So you can just click on this link right here, and that will take you to Twilio account. But basically, let me just go ahead and simply show you where it is. So just go to Twilio. Let me try to find that account. So if you go to Google and just Google Twilio, okay, and then simply go to twilio.com and click on that link right there. So once you click on it, it's going to bring you to this page right here. Okay, so at the time of recording this video, this is how this page looks like, but in the future this page its appearance or appear might change, right? The UI might change, but for now this is how it just looks like. So you can go ahead and simply click on sign up and then fill in your details to sign up. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this to you to do because I already have an account and I've already signed up, so I don't have to sign up again. But in your case, you fill in the first name, your last name, your email and your password, and accept the terms and policies, and then simply go ahead and register an account. So once you register an account, you can go ahead and go into your login, and once you're logged in, you can have access to your console. So if you go in here, you can just go to, you get access to your console when you log in. Okay, so you go in there and you have access to your console, and this is how your console looks like. Okay, but in your case, one thing will be different. So up here, for you to be able to send messages from Twilio, you need a mobile phone, right? Basically a mobile number. So in your case, there's going to be a button right here which is asking you to get a mobile number. So just click on that button and it's going to generate for you a mobile number, and the mobile number is going to be placed right here. Okay, so along with this account SSID and then all this other information. Okay, so this is going to be generated and put in right here. So actually I'm actually showing you my account SSD, but it doesn't really matter because you don't have the token, so you can't really do anything. Okay, yeah, that's basically it. So once you click on the button, it's going to appear, and on your end right here, it's going to give you a Twilio phone number that you can use to send messages out. Okay, so once that's done, then you're ready to go. So let's go into let me just go back, and then let's go into I'm just going to go ahead and simply open up my favorite text editor. I'm going to be using VS Code in this case, but you feel free to use any editor that you're comfortable using. I'm just going to go with Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up my VS Code. So feel free to use any editor that you're comfortable using. You can use Sublime, PyCharm, or anything. Okay, so I just open up the folder that we created, and in here I'm just going to go ahead and simply create another folder. I'm going to call this folder basics, and just press enter. And instead of this basics, I'm going to go ahead and simply add a file in there. I'm going to add a file. I'm going to simply call this one basics_01.py. Okay, and the reason I call it _01.py because you're going to be using Twilio to send messages in two different by using two different methods. Okay, so great. Once we have that, also go inside of the root directory of your project. Just go ahead and simply create a file there and call this file .env. Okay, created a .env file. So once you create a .env file, now you can simply go ahead and pass in your content in here. So I'm going to go ahead and simply say the phone. So when you say Twilio, let me just set up this. I'm just Twilio underscore account SID. So Twilio account SID, and then simply say equal, and then go to Twilio. Let me just go to Twilio official documentation, which is just our console, and then simply copy your account information and go back in here and simply let me just go back in to VS Code. So let me just go to into my VS Code and simply paste it right here. So copy, just say Twilio account Twilio underscore account underscore SID, and then simply go to Twilio document console and just copy your account SID and paste it there. For the token, do the same, and for the mobile number, you can also do the same, or you can for the mobile number, you can keep it in your code if you want. I'm just gonna keep it in our code for this case, but you can also keep it in your environment variable and use that, which is much more safe, right? Yeah, but for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and simply go to the account. Okay, for our auth token part, which is just going to be the following. So I'm going to simply say I'm going to say Twilio underscore account Twilio auth, right? Auth underscore token, just like that, and simply paste your token in here. I don't want you guys to see my token because they can be like I can endure costs just by sharing my token with you. So I'm not going to go ahead and share my token with you, but I'm just going to go ahead and paste my token in here. You can just go ahead, copy it, and then simply paste it in there. So once that's done, I will resume the video. Okay, done that, and simply move my my account token out token inside of my .env file. So now instead of a global Python development, our environment variable. So once I have that, I can go ahead and simply import everything that we need and then start coding. So first I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and say from Twilio from Twilio.rest, I'm going to say from Twilio.rest, I'm going to import this is going to be the client, the Twilio client. Okay, so once we have that, I'm just going to go ahead and simply create a simple client and then use that client to send messages out. So I'm going to say message is going to be equals to, I'm going to say client client.message messages client.messages.create, and then simply go ahead and pass in the body of the message. So we're going to say body is going to be equals to what you want to your message to contain. Sorry, I pressed the wrong key. So it's going to be a string, and you can just pass in anything that you want your message to contain. So I'm going to say hello world from Twilio. Okay, just like that, hello world from Twilio. And then I can also go ahead and simply pass in my from, where this email is going, where this basically where this message is coming from, and this where the message is coming from is going to be your Twilio phone number. So just go back into your Twilio console and then get your phone number, which is going to be this right here. You can also decide to keep it inside of your environment, the .env file if you want. I'll just show you how to read the data from the environment file just in a second. So once we have the hello world, the from, and then I'm also going to say the to, where this is going to go to. So whenever you're creating the Twilio account, you're going to be using your phone number, right? And you can only send messages to your phone number and not any other phone number. So you have to pass in your phone number right here. Okay, so pass in your phone number right here. Okay, so I'm going to pass in my phone number inside of my environment variable, because I don't want you guys to see my phone number. Like, I don't want to get any messages from you guys, like that's my personal number, I get, right? So yeah, that's basically it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pass in my phone number inside of my environment variable, and then get back to you guys. Okay, so I have my phone number now already inside of my my .env variable, which can be our environment variable. So now we can access my phone number. So how do we access environment variables? Okay, so now we install the .env library. So right, so let's go and ahead and get access to the .env library. So I'm going to say from let this one be lowercase, right? So I'm going to say from .env. I'm going to go ahead and import load env. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and simply call this function load.env right here, and it's going to load all the values inside of our .env file, inside of our environment variable. So now we can go ahead and access to it. So we're going to be using the OS library to get access to those environment variables. So I'm going to go ahead and simply import OS right here. So I'm going to go down here and simply say get the phone number. So I'm going to say phone underscore number is going to be equals to os.getEnv, and then simply pass in the name of that global environment, the name of the variable which you called it instead of the env. So in the case of the Twilio account SID, we call it Twilio underscore account underscore SID, right? So for my phone number, I called it phone number. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this and simply call it phone number. Okay, so in my case, I call it phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and simply type in phone underscore number right here. So phone number. So once I have that typed in, that should now get me my phone number, right? So great. So I'm going to go down here, and instead of 2, I'm going to go ahead and simply say phone number, just like that. So that's all I want to do. So save that. You can also install the use black to go ahead and give you a good formatting for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly install that so you can have a good formatting. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to hit Control and S. Okay, let's see it. So once I have my phone number in there, now let's go ahead and see we're getting some errors right here. So let's actually go ahead and try to format this a bit so that it looks more much more nice. So I'm just going to format this a bit. So we're getting the error at this place form. The reason why we're getting this error is because form is a keyword in Python. So you have to say form underscore, right? Because just to make sure that it's not a Python keyword. So basically that's it. And I press save, and I have a I have a formatter installed, Prettier. You can see it right here. So it's what giving me this good formatting. Okay, so once I have my messages this formatted, I can go ahead and simply send this message. But one thing you are going to notice is that this is not going to work, and the reason why is that we have to create an object of this. Okay, so how do you go ahead and create an object of the client client class that we imported from Twilio .rest. Okay, so to do that, you have to say client. So you have to say client is going to be equals to client, and then simply pass in. We need a couple of things. We need to pass in the account SSD. You also need to pass in the out token. Okay, so now once we have this object created, I can delete this and simply replace the name of the instance, basically the object. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and simply pass in the following information. I need to pass in the account SID. I also need to pass in the out token. So let's get that from here. So when we say account SID is going to be equals to is in our global is in our environment variable instead of our env file. So we can get access to it by saying os.get env and then passing, we call it let me just say account, we call it account underscore it's gonna be Twilio account. So we say Twilio Twilio underscore account underscore SID, and then we also get the other one, which is going to be the out token. So we say out underscore token is going to be os.get env, and then simply paste simply say Twilio Twilio underscore out underscore token, just like that. So that should now get us the account SID and also the out token. So we can go ahead and pass in them in here. So we can say account SID account SID, and also pass in the out token. That's basically what we need. Yeah, so once we have this done, now we can go ahead and simply send a message. So let's go ahead and simply say print. Let me just print something to make sure the name to notify that the message has been sent. So we just say SMS has been sent. I don't have to have my phone connected to my laptop, but I'll just let you know whether I got the message or not. So I can also go ahead and print the message. Okay, just like this, I can print the message itself. So once I have this done, I can simply go ahead and run the code. So once I am going to go into my bring up my terminal right here, and let me just change directory into my basics, and then simply do a python 3, and then you call it basics 1.py, and then run that. So now this should actually send me a message right here. So the message, let me just say the message has been sent. So I just actually got the message on my phone, and the message has been sent. So you can just see I got sent from Twilio trial account, hello world from Twilio, which is hello world from Twilio is a message that we have displayed. Let me just go back into the code. It's a message, is a body of the message you have sent, right? The content of the body. But if you're using a free Twilio account, you're going to get this text added to it, which says that sent from Twilio trial account. So if you want to get a premium account or a paid account, that message, that thing of sent from Twilio trial account should be gone, and the only thing that should be sent is hello world from Twilio, which is what we sent right here. So trust me, I actually got the message. So if you follow everything as I told you, then you should also get the message on your end. So make sure that you have a Twilio account, and also make sure that you specify your phone number inside of the, which is going to be the to from, right? So if you want to specify your phone, if you don't want to keep your phone number inside of a .env variable, .env file, you can just go ahead and actually type it here. So one thing you have to include is the country code. So right now I'm actually in Kenya, so the country code is 254, and then it's going to follow my phone number. So whatever country you are, make sure that you include the country code. Like you can even see the phone number that we got from Twilio has the country code included, right? So make sure you have the country code of your country included, and if you have all that done, then you should get the message. Okay, good. So that's the first way of sending messages from Twilio, just an easy way. So I said I'm going to show you two ways of how to send messages in Twilio. The second way is actually very, very simple. It's just basically the same thing that we have, but you're going to be using message services basically to send messages right here. So let me just go ahead and simply copy everything in here. So I'm going to go and copy everything, and then simply create another thing. I'm going to call it basics underscore 02.py. So in basics2.py, I'm going to go ahead and simply paste the code that we copied from there. And now instead of to use messaging services, actually very simple. You just have to go in here and simply say messages. Let me just get that right. Message. I think I just saw it right here, message service SID, and that should be equals to your phone number, and that's all you need to do, and that should now work for you. So now everything else remains the same, but now we're just going to be sending a message using a messaging service, right? So let me just go ahead and simply run the code again, and let's see what we get. So I'm just going to my terminal and then simply run the code again. Let's see what we get. Okay, so it's taking a bit of, okay, the message has been sent. Let me just check on my phone to see if I got the message. So I'm just going to give, yeah, I got the message, and I got it, hello world from Twilio, sent from Twilio trial account. Yeah, I got the message as well. So great. That's basically it, how you can send messages yeah, in using Twilio, using the messaging service, the messaging service, or you can also use the normal approaches from number, right? So that's basically it. You can actually access different things from this. You can do the SID and all that. You can get all these attributes out of this if you want. So you can do .SID, in case you want to keep track of something. You can just keep track of it like that. So if I run it, let's give this some time to send it. Okay, it has been sent, and I got the message SID. You can store this in a database just to keep track of things if you want. But that's basically it, how you can send messages from using Twilio in a basic way. So great. That's the first part of this. So what's the second part? You have created an account. You have been able to send messages from Twilio using two different approaches: the normal approach and also using the messaging service approach, right? So great. So you've been able to send message just by like let's say that you are the admin and you want to send message to all of your users. You just whose phone number you have, you can just write the code to do that and send a message to all of them, and that's exactly what we have done so far. Good. So sending OTP messages. So what's an OTP, right? You will probably come across websites where you go and register and then they ask you for a username, your phone number, and then they send you a message on your phone number, and then they are on the website they give you a form where you have to type in the number that they sent you through through your message through your through SMS, right? So that's on OTC an OTP. An OTP stands for one time passcode. So you can also use Twilio to send OTP codes. It's actually very simple. Instead of having to create your own database, create your own logic, and then complicate everything, you can just use Twilio and save yourself a ton of time. So we're going to be using Twilio for this, and I'm going to show you how to do this in Twilio. It's much simpler using Twilio than just doing this yourself manually. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be going ahead and do. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump into my my VS Code right here. I'm going to go minimize this and then create another folder in here. I'm going to call this folder let me just say OTP verification, just like that. So I'm going to create an OTP verification right here. So instead of this OTP verification folder, I'm going to create another file in here called basic underscore 01 let me just say OTP basic underscore OTP.py. Okay, so basic OTP.py. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy some of the code from here because it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm just gonna we need a countess ID and everything from also in the client. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy everything this way, copy everything, and I'm going to go in here and simply paste it in here. So once I have that pasted in there, now we're going to go ahead and send the verification, and actually very simple to do. So the first thing you need to do, like we can send the verification, which is going to be, sorry, you can send the OTP, that's the one-time passcode, and then the client need to now pass in the one-time passcode back to us to make sure that we verify it, to make sure that you actually got the message, right? So if you actually got the message, that's proof that the phone number that you provided is actually your own phone number, right? That you didn't actually just type in a random phone number. So we will send you the OTP. It will go to the phone number you provided. If that number is yours, then you should be able to get access to that OTP. If you are getting access to it, how do you know that you actually got access to it? We will ask you to type it back in, and once you type it back in, we'll check if it's the one that we sent you, and if it matches the one that we sent you, that means that phone number is actually yours, right? Because you have access to that phone number, and that's how OTP basically works. So the first thing we need to do is actually send out the OTP. Okay, so let's actually send out the OTP. And if you don't understand how the OTP works, you actually look at this diagram, which you looked at, just OTP. So you send maybe you are the owner, you go to a website, you register, you provide your phone number, and then we'll tell you, hey, we sent you an OTP. Where we tell the server to send you an OTP. The OTP goes into your phone, SMS. You're able to get access to that code. You type in the code back to the website, back into the website. It goes to the server verifies it, and that's it. That means that the phone number is actually yours, right? So yeah, that's basically it. So let's go ahead and see how we can do that in here. So I'm just going to go back in here. So the first thing we need to do is actually send the OTP. So verify, let me just say, let's just say verify, let's say OTP, let's say OTP verification, and OTP verification is just going to be client, which is the object of the client class that we imported from Twilio.rest, right? So it takes in a couple of things. So we need to go and no, actually we need to say just say dot verify, and then verify dot services, and then we need to go ahead and say the verify SID. So we need to provide in something which is going to be the verify SID code that we need to provide in here. So how do we get the verify SID code? So for do this, you need to go into your Twilio account, and if you go into your Twilio account, go under the Twilio console, go under verification, the verification section, go under services, okay, because we said verification, and then dot services, go under services, and then once, let's wait for this to load up. Just give it a second to load up. Okay, guys. So I took a bit of time. I actually forgot my password. I was logged out of my account for some reason. I just forgot my password, so I had to go ahead and reset my password. And yeah, so I'm back here, and you can see I have a couple of services here. I have only 2 services, but for some reason they are duplicated. I don't know why. But these are the services, the service ID. So you just need to go ahead and copy the service IDs, and go ahead and go back to your VS Code, and simply go ahead and instead of your OTP code, OTP, and simply add those verification codes in there. Okay. So make sure to go ahead and simply add those verification code in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll pause the video because I don't want to see you guys to see my other information, right? So, okay. I simply went ahead and simply put that verify SID inside of my my environment variable. So I'm going to go ahead and simply get access to it. So I'm going to simply say verify underscore SID is going to be equals to os.get env, and then type in it's going to be verify underscore SID. Okay, so now we have that SID, which is going to be the service ID, and then I kept it inside of my virtual environment. Okay, so once I have it here, I'm going to go ahead and pass in my SID right here. So I'm going to say verify SID, and once I have that verify SID passed in here, I'm going to say simply say verify dot verifications, right, dot create. So I'm going to create a verification right here. So we're going to say the 2, which is the number that you want to send it to, and it's going to be my phone number. So I'm going to say for my phone number, and I'm going to say the channel is going to be the SMS channel, because it's going to be an SMS channel. You can also do this by through email. You can also send the verification OTP through email if you want, but it's a bit longer of a process. I'm not going to cover it in this video, but I'm just going to go ahead. You have to create a send it grade something, and then you have to use it here. It's a bit of a lengthy process, but it's not that lengthy. But I'm just going to go ahead and simply keep things simple and send through my SMS, right? So if you guys want me to show you how to do this using email, how to send the OTP through a user's email to verify that they're actually owners of that email, then that's fine. You can let me know in the comment section below. But for now, I'm just going to be using a phone number right here. So once I have my OTP, I'm going to go ahead and simply I can check the status of the OTP, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and simply say print statement right here. I'm going to say OTP underscore verification dot you can say dot status, and that should return to the status of the OTP, like the status under which this OTP currently is, right? So once we do that, that should tell us the status of the OTP. So once we know the status of the OTP, we can also now that OTP will be sent to the user's phone, right? So now we can actually ask the user to send us back to type in the OTP that we sent him, and if he types in the correct OTP that we sent him, that shows that he is the actual owner of that phone number or has access to that phone number, right? So we can say OTP OTP underscore code is going to be equals to, we're going to ask the user to input it. In the website you have a form, and then you ask the user to input the OTP inside of the form, but in here just going to go ahead and simply say do user input. Okay, so I'm going to say enter the OTP sent to you. Okay, so enter the OTP sent to you, and the user will be required to type in the OTP. So now once you have access to the OTP, how can you check and make sure that the OTP is actually a valid one? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead to actually do that. Actually very simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy this right here and simply paste it right here, and I'm going to say OTP. This is going to be OTP, let's say call it check, OTP check, and you're going to say here we're going to say check, right? So check dot create, and then we're going to use the same phone number, and by in here you're not going to specify the channel because you're not sending anything. So we're going to say OTP I'm going to simply say the code, and the code is just going to be equals to the OTP code that we got from the user, OTP underscore code, right? So that's going to verify that this OTP code was sent to this number. And if an OTP code has been sent, you can also go ahead and go to your dashboard if you go back to the Twilio page right here, you can go ahead and go to, I think it's under let's go overview. I think it's under overview if I'm not mistaken. We should be able to see every OTP that has been sent another thread. Let me just say let me see where it is right here. So services is not under services. If I go to monitor, right, it's under monitor. So if you go development and go develop and go to monitor and you go to logs, you can go and let's say verification. you should be able to see all the OTP code that you have sent in their verifications and all that stuff. Okay, so that's good. So let's go ahead and actually check this OTP. Let's just go back into a VS Code and let's go ahead and actually check the OTP, and if we'll send the OTP, and then we'll ask the user to put in the OTP that they have received, and then we'll check if it is valid, if the OTP has been sent to this number, and if the OTP is what the user typed in, then you're going to, that means that the OTP is correct, right? So we're going to say OTP, then we say OTP underscore check, then we check dot, you can also print the status right here. So yeah, we can do that, and then once it's done, once the code you have the code done, we can actually run it and see. So here we're going to go ahead and simply send the OTP to this phone number, and then the channel is going to be SMS, right? You can also send this through email if you want, but you have to do a couple more steps. Okay, and then we'll ask the user to type in the OTP that they received, and then we get the OTP. We check if it's the correct OTP that we sent to this number, right? And then for that, if it's valid, then we'll tick that it is valid. That's all. So once that's done, we can actually go ahead and actually check this. We cannot check print the status. We can just print out the whole return statement. We can just run this. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and simply, I'm going to go and go back one directory, and then change directory into, let me just do an ls, and we change directory into my OTP so change directory into OTP folder, OTP verification folder, and I'm going to simply say Python 3 and then basics, then run that file. Okay, so now that should send us an OTP. So the OTP has been sent. So let me just check it on my phone. Okay, I got the message here on my phone. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply type in the OTP, which is going to be 42373 and then 46. Okay, so I'm just going to press enter, and then we got an error right here. It says no attribute check. So I've actually got an error. So let's look at our code and see if we got it right. So it's going to be verification underscore check. Okay, so it's gonna be verification underscore check dot create. Okay, my bad for that. So it's verification underscore checks. Okay, verification underscore checks dot, yeah, that's it, verification underscore checks dot create. So my bad for that. So now let's go ahead and try and let's go back to the Twilio website. Now if I go ahead and try to refresh this, let's see what we get. So let me just give it a quick refresh and let's see what we get back. So if I go in here, let's see what we have. So one OTP has been sent out to this number and it has not been verified yet because we didn't pass it back in. Okay, so now let me just go ahead and let's run the code again, and actually this time we can now verify it. So run the code again, and hopefully I should get back that message. Okay, so it has been sent. Let me just wait a bit and see. Okay, I got the message, and the verification code is actually the one that has been sent to us previously, which is going to be 42373 and then 46. Okay, so then press enter, and now you can see that we got the it has been successful. So you can also check this on the website right here. If you go ahead and quickly refresh this, and let's see what we get. Okay, so once I load it, you can see now the verification has been approved. Number of attempts is 2 attempts because we sent it 2 times. So now you can see the OTP has been approved. So as I can send OTP from Twilio to verify phone numbers and stuff like that. You can also send this through email if you want, but that's for another tutorial. So you guys, thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed it so far, please make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and share this content with anyone who you think might find it helpful. So yeah, that's basically it. I've been using SlideGold for this presentation, and if you're new to the channel, please kindly consider subscribing, liking this video, and sharing the content with anyone who you think might find this helpful. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Keep safe.